Hello there and welcome to day 23 of the My Mate Vince Advent Amazon Return Challenge, where I bought this huge pallet, over 300 kilograms of items, and I'm trying to fix them. So we have got to day 23, so we are nearing the end. Thank God, this has taken it out of me. Not as much as last year, but not far off. So sit back, enjoy. Let's see if we can fix anything in day 23.
Lights, no camera, no action.
Here we have an LED PALLET, whatever that is. Oh my word, I was not expecting that. Look at the size of this thing. It looks like a World War II searchlight for spotting enemy planes. I think if I can get this working, it's going to pump out some light. Now, it looks brand new. It looks like it's one of these DMX ones where you have different addresses to do different things, dark to bright by key, strobe mode from slow to fast. I don't even know if it's going to work just by plugging it in. If it doesn't, there's not much I can do because I won't be able to control it via any sort of data. So yeah, I'm hoping by plugging it in I'll be able to get some basic features. Let me get this stand and stuff on and see what's happening. Right, so I've got it stood up here. It certainly is a heavy duty thing. It looks like you can control it at the back. Unfortunately, it's completely dead. When I turn it on here, well, it's not completely dead. I can hear a fan. So hopefully you can hear the fan, but there's nothing happening here. So this is the input. So what happens is, this is going to be into your DJ mixing desk or lighting unit or whatever, and then this goes off to feed the next light. Because these are stage lights, imagine you might have one pointing this way on the stage, another one pointing that way on the stage, another one coming down, another one coming down from here. So this is kind of daisy chained onto the next one, but it's completely dead as far as this is concerned, yet the fan's working and it hasn't tripped anything. So let's take it apart and see what's going on the inside. So this light is built out of all, I presume, aluminium, and there's 4 screws holding it in at the back. Undo those 4 screws and it gives us access to the circuit boards. Ooh, just got a tiny little metal splinter there. I'm going to throw that in the bin. Right now, let's see if we can see what is happening here. Everything looks plugged in. Oh, hold on. Have we got burning here? Ah, look here. Look. Look at this here. We're all burnt, aren't we? Right, let me take some pictures here, undo all these connections, and then we'll see what's burnt. But yeah, that exploded, I think, as soon as it was plugged in. Not on my shift because I didn't hear any bang. There you go, visual inspection, you see. Right, so these all look different. It's even, wow, the burn is, the flash mark's even gone up here. Look at the burning, it's all gone over to here. So yeah, and that's of course is on the other board and it's come up, but I need to take this off anyway because the wires are very restrictive. And see if we can work out what's what. So it looks like the epicenter was around here. But there's nothing here apart from that. Do you reckon that failed and shot across here? But it's also all the way over here. Big Dipper. Looks like the Nike sign, doesn't it? Things do not look healthy. Well, that there is an understatement, Vince. I was actually on this for about 3 hours, and I do have 3 hours of footage. I remade all those resistors that had blown out by DMX1, where the arrow is pointing now. Then when I was doing more testing, I realised that under DMX2, the traces were completely blown. DMX2 traces go to DMX1 traces. These are like the low voltage data side of things. So imagine it similar like to an Ethernet. you're telling this lamp to turn on, to strobe, to do white light, to do warm light. That's all done via data. And then to actually make the LED work and stuff, you're going to have the higher voltage side of things. So the lead feeding this device here has high voltage, mains voltage, but it also has data pins as well. I don't know anything about DMX, but that's how I roughly think it works. So I think what's happened here is somehow high voltage, mains voltage, I think has gone down the data pins and absolutely obliterated this board. I proved the faults onto this massive chip here, where the arrow is showing, and I'm pretty sure the chip in the middle, which has no markings on, is also blown because we have weird shorts on it where I don't think we should. Now, I'm skipping through all of this because it's a failure video and I spent so long on it, and right now I haven't got time to spend 24 hours editing this video up because there's a lot of footage. So unfortunately it is a failure video, but 100% that long chip where the arrow's pointing now is 100% definitely blown, but I can buy them. You can get those ones there. The harder one is the chip in the middle with no markings on it. So yeah, I'm deeming this as not repairable. I think what's happened is higher voltage has come down the low voltage lines and caused catastrophic damage. I just want to show you the actual leads because I'm wondering now, after putting all the hours of work in, whether or not there could be a problem with the lead itself. There's no short on the lead when I measure with my multimeter, but maybe when there's mains voltage going down it, that might be when the short occurs. Right, so these are the connectors here, and as you can see, we have the high voltage pins here and the low voltage DMX here, but yet they just go onto 3 pins this side, and as far as I can see, they're all low voltage, and they go onto the 3 pins here, which then go onto the DMX2 connector on the inside here. The 2 connector was the one that definitely got the brunt of the damage. I mean, you can see I've got them off here. They're completely, it's completely obliterated. That's completely, look at that. And that's after I cleaned it with IPA, trying to make it look better. The pin's completely gone from the voltage side of it. The ground's in the middle. Either that, or because the 2 connectors are connected together, somebody might have plugged this into something that shouldn't have been plugged in, or this here could be faulty, and somehow it's fine with the multimeter, but there might have been a short in here between the high voltage and the low voltage, but only when it's plugged in. I think that board's had high voltage on those data pins, but I don't really know. And this chip here is definitely the faulty one. So yeah, unfortunately, and this is unfixable. I might look at it again another time, but the problem I've got is I don't know what the middle chip is. There's no markings on it. So without knowing what the middle chip is, I won't be able to get a replacement to fix it, which is such a shame because I would love to have seen how bright that is, because this side of it here may well be working okay.
Wannabe Dyson fan.
Right, here we have something that, fingers crossed, I might actually be able to make some money on. So it is a bladeless fan heater, and it's currently on Amazon for, well, it was £150. Now it's down to £129.80. So let's unbox it and see what it's doing. Initially, it looks brand new. Right, here it is, and it actually opens up very big. So the idea of it is, I think this might be a more expensive model because this looks like it's the 1800 watt model, and it's supposed to do cold air for the summer like a Dyson fan. Again, like a Dyson fan, it's supposed to heat up, and also it's an air purifier. It's supposed to have a HEPA filter built in, so it's like a 3-in-1 product. Now I've plugged it in and it's not doing anything. So none of these buttons work, and also look at the remote control here. The batteries were left in the remote control. It all looks new or very little use, but when I open up this here, so you can see those batteries have leaked everywhere. So we'll try to get the fan fixed to begin with, and if we're successful, I'll then look at the remote control. If we're not successful, I don't have to worry about the remote control. Now, I don't want to brag about Dyson products because I know they're expensive, but this is expensive as well. But let's just say there's a huge difference between this, what feels like a huge difference between this and a Dyson one. Nice features though, you can bend this around the place. So it's a bladeless fan similar to the Dyson ones, and you can move this around. It's supposed to oscillate as well. First of all, let's check the fuse. Not sure how easy this is going to be to film. 13 amp fuse. Fuse is okay. Right, so we have to take this thing apart. Now, let's try to make it easier to work on. Does that bend all the way around here? That's good. A little base at the bottom here. Like so. Looks like we have a bit of a filter. Oh, I think it might suck in from the bottom. And that's why you have the standoffs here, the feet. Okay. Well, I can see screws deep inside here, so let's start there, and it might take off the bottom section. Obviously I'm unplugged. We're going to be using my special screwdriver again that I've mentioned in possibly every single episode. Is it going to work? Of course it is. Can I undo this here? How does this come out? Oh, I've got screws here, they're very tight. Can I reach in and untie? No, I can't. Right, I'm going to have to try to undo the 2 screws, just holding in this deep down in here. Whoa, 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 careful. Right, they're undone. Can I feed that through more? Yes, excellent. There we go, now I'll be able to work on it. Does it say 1800? Because everything online was 1500. What does it say here? 1800. AB01H. I'll probably find out now there's a safety recall on it and it's not worth anything. Right, okay. Oh, so we have... Do they line up with the... Yeah, they do. So these outer ones are actually going to tiny little screws. So we had the inner holes here and the outer holes just here. So let's undo them. I'm going to need a smaller screwdriver for that. Something that this doesn't work on. So I presume that's for the oscillation. I want to get the circuit board to see if this is even plugged in because it's completely dead. But it's nice to see something in the pallet which isn't a bug zapper or a humidifier or a dehumidifier or a quartz clock or a neck massager or one of those heating fans with the dodgy motors. I found loads more of them. So I can only do what's in the pallet. I know some people are bored of the items. I have tried to mix it up a bit, but also I want to get through as much of the pallet as possible. And I'm running out of time days-wise. But so far the series has been... Oh, no, that doesn't sound good. So far the series has been well received. It's done even better at the moment when I'm filming this than last year. Why won't that come undone? Wow. Let me try the next size up. The others came undone easy. Yes, gotcha. There's not a lot of grip on this, you see. It's fine for easy screws, but not when it comes to hard to undo ones. It's amazing the difference something like that makes because you've got more leverage to force it around. Okay, let's shoot off. Now, are you going to come undone now? No. There's no point in me looking online. There's only a couple of reviews. There's not going to be somebody repairing them. Right, so it looks like it's held from the middle. I hope I don't have to take off this top bit or something. And this is just going to be for the fan, these screws, the blade. Oh, we got more screws. We got a screw here, a screw here, a screw here, and a screw here. And here. There's loads of screws. I'm just worried that that's going to scratch up the side. I'm just going to put a cloth down here. Oh, they must be for something else. Ooh, fanner, that does look like the Dyson one. Might even be the same motor. I still haven't got to any control board. Now I have to get to the circuit board because we have power going into it, fuse is okay. I have to get to the very first point, which is the circuit board. I need to get onto the end of the leads to make sure that there's power going into the board at very least. It could be just a connector that's come undone. So I get rid of bits of foam, I get rid of bits of rubber grommet, I even undo the screws around the bladeless fan part where the air comes out of, and I still can't get this thing apart. I then undo the top little touch panel and I can see the circuit board, but I still can't get to it. Can you believe that I didn't need to undo any of these screws? Guess how you get to the circuit board? It is far from safe, but I can't believe it. You just need to twist it like a bayonet fitting. Check this part of the video out. It was physically impossible for that to come out of that hole there because it's much bigger. And this is all moulded here. So the answer can't be there. It has to be from the top. I wonder, does it lock into place? Oh, here we go. Oh my word. Yes, Vince. Look, it's keys. Boom here. So in and twist. Bayonet. Here, here, and one here as well. Right, we are in. So now. My, oh my. So where's that ribbon cable? So that ribbon cable must be feeding the motor, is it? Don't know what's going on here. So we want to go across these and these to see if we have power from the plug going in case the lead's faulty. So I suppose we can do that now. Can't see any earth coming up. So we are on neutral. Is it going to be blue? Yes, it is. Let's go to live. So it's not that. So I think what we'll do is let's undo these two screws. I'm going to take a couple of pictures and we have to have a close look at that board. So I'm thinking now, what's stopping you from just, I didn't undo any screws from here, so what's stopping you from just taking the top off? Nothing. Is that right? So anybody, even a kid, could hold on to that, twist the top, and this would fall off. There's not even a little screw here, you know, to stop you from doing that. That's not very good. Unless I've missed, no, I mean, I haven't put long screws through here. No. Okay. I've got to be a little bit careful because I don't know if this board is going to be live or not. As in capacitors. There we go. Right, oh, that came off. So what's that for? That's for the oscillation. That came off pretty easy, but it would work without oscillation, wouldn't it? Yes, it would. It wouldn't need to have the oscillation for it to work. Yeah. Weirdly, the reviews, lots of them said that the oscillation stopped. I wonder, is it because that's under a little bit of strain? Well, it is now because it's apart. But I wonder, is it as simple as that coming loose? So these black wires go off to the fan, the heater here, the black wire and the red wire. And these are ones you have to pinch to take off. So let's take off all these, and we have access to the board. That's going up to there, and this is going down to the fan. Right, okay. Excellent. Something feels loose. Listen. Is that a relay? That relay's gone, is it not? And this is where the main thing comes in. The neutral's on here, and the live's on here. So listen. I think that shaking's coming from the relay, but I could be wrong. Purely to speed up the video, because it's quite a long one, I was sure that shaking was coming from a bad connection in the relay. And maybe that's why the neutral is not working, because of the faulty connection in the relay, and that's why the board's getting no power. So I unsoldered the relay from the board, and the shaking was still there. I didn't convince myself it was coming from that little piezo buzzer, the little speaker thing, the little black circle thing. I took that off the board and it was still shaking. I then realised that the shaking was coming from, guess what, the tilt sensor. So if this was to fall over, it wouldn't work. It needs to be upright to work, otherwise it becomes a fire hazard if it was to fall over. So it needs a tilt sensor in it, and the tilt sensor must have a little ball bearing in it to make and break the connection. So I wasted about 15 minutes of my time there. Is it you? Are you taking the mick? It's not you! What on earth is causing this wiggling? There's nothing left. Is it this thing? Is that a tilt sensor? Where? What? There's a ball rattling. Do you know what? I bet you that's a tilt sensor. Let's see. Right, so we have continuity and no continuity. Continuity, no continuity. Continuity, no continuity. So it's there is an actual ball in there. So I suppose when it's upright like this, there's nothing, but if it shorts, it must cut. So I think it was upright like that on the board, and then it cuts. That's quite clever. Let me just see if it works the other way. So, nothing? Yeah, okay. And this way? Yeah, okay. Tilt sensor. Let's solder everything. Oh, interesting. Probably worth taking that off, because look, you've got components hidden underneath it as well. So that might have confused me later on if I'm doing fault finding. Right, let's get these things back on. At least I know what the rattling's coming from. So I was sure from the moment I took out that board and I felt all the rattling that was the fault. I thought it was a bad connection, first of all in the relay, and then just to prove where the fault was coming from, I knew the piezo buzzer wouldn't cause it to stop working, but I just wanted to know, was it faulty and was that causing the rattling? But it wasn't. So now I have to start from the beginning again, because we know we got continuity going into the board from the plug, so there has to be 240 volts AC going into it. So now let's find out what is causing this board not to work. I won't bother cleaning it up yet. Let's get power back into it, and then maybe we can follow the voltage a bit of the way. Or it might even just come to life now that the fan and the heater isn't plugged in, because maybe they're causing it to go into some sort of shutdown. It's just weird because it doesn't come alive at all. We should definitely be having power all the way up to the caps. We can test that. So we have brown here and blue here, everything else is disconnected. Let's see now if this is going to liven up, because we should have little numbers and stuff on here. Let's plug it in. I feel safe plugging it in because I had it plugged in before and it didn't go bang. And I've got nothing that's going to short anywhere. So obviously I'm not touching anything. Let's plug it in now. Right, so that board is not coming alive here. There's nothing here at all. I'm going to unplug. I'm just curious about the tilt sensor. Let's make sure the tilt sensor is off. Tilt sensor's on, is that correct? Hold on. I want that tilt sensor to be, I think it was in the board vertical like that. What's it doing now? So really I need it to be up there somewhere. Maybe it's to do with the tilt sensor. I need to rest it on something. Right, tilt sensor's definitely not beeping right now, but you can't see this. Right, let's plug it in now and see if it comes alive. Maybe it's the tilt sensor. Right, I'm in. Nothing's happening. Right, let's go onto volts DC and see if we have anything at the massive caps. So I'm just going to go on this cap here. Negative up top. Hope it doesn't fall on me. Right, see that 161? So I presume we have 161 on both of them. Let's try this one. So we've definitely got that going there. So is it something to do now with these transistor type things? I would have thought they would have been for driving the fan. It's not even coming on. Why are you not even coming on? So the reason the voltage is only 160 volts at each cap is because they're in series with each other. But if you add them up, that's 320 volts. Often on these sort of power supplies, you'll have a 400 volt cap. But what they've done here is they've used 200 volt caps, but it looks like they're both in series with each other. So add them both up and you'll get a similar voltage. So we now know that the fuse, the bridge rectifier, etc., is okay because we have voltage up to the capacitors. So we've definitely got DC voltage going into this board. Let's get the FLIR cam, and see if we've got anything heating up, because we've definitely got voltage coming into the board and everything looks perfect. We haven't got any blown components or anything here. Ooh, there is a little heat spot. Can you see that glow in there? It's under the ribbon cable, but there is a little heat spot and it looks like it might be some sort of diode or something. Can you see just here? Is there any way I can move this out of the way? Let's get rid of this. Now let's see. Where are you coming from? Let me get my plastic. I know you can't see very well, or at all. There is a weird chip that's getting hot. I think it's the chip. It's very hard to tell. It seems to be hot in that whole area. And on this side of the board as well. Behind there, I think that's a chip. Annoying. I'm not going to have time to buy spares in this series now, I don't think. Let me unplug and wait for it to drain down. I'm more prepared than last year. I've done some videos in advance, but now I've got to the stage where I've got 7 days to do, or is it 6 days to do 6 videos? So I think I've got 7 days to do 6 videos, so it doesn't really allow much time for buying spares, unfortunately. I thought I'd be organised this year, but time just disappeared. Some people think it's easy doing 24 videos, but 24 videos is kind of, a lot of YouTubers do 1 video a week, and 24 videos is nearly half a year. So it's not easy. Even though some people think it is, anybody that does videos realise it's not easy. Right, okay, that's safe to work on. Let's see now what this chip is. Maybe it's designed to get hot. This would be one of the better items to fix though, rather than another bug zapper, because there would be value in this. I think it's this chip here. You see this one here? What are you? PN8015M P23DC001. As far as I can see, we've got a lot of shorts. So that looks like it's shorting. Ah, do you reckon it could be that capacitor? No, but that looks discoloured, doesn't it? It does look discoloured. That looks like it might be short. This is in parallel with something. All of the capacitors look a bit funny. That's 22 ohms, that's not a short. My leads are 0.4 of an ohm at the moment. That's 0.6. That doesn't look right. Anyway, I was trying to find the ground, but I'm struggling. So this is being fed. This must be, would this be the power in from the inductor? What voltage is this here? 25 volt. So these are all going to be in line with each other. That's 8 ohms, so I don't think that's a short. Where do you go to? So that's shorted as well. So here, but I'm not. It might not necessarily be faulty, unless I look up what this chip is and see if that's supposed to be ground. But we've got the negative from here. That's shorted as well. It's weird. Are they the same chip? Yes. So is this going to here? Yeah. So everything on this rail is also going to be, you know, the same. I'm not going to lie, this short did throw me a little bit. I know there's a short on the board, but the weird thing is the FLIR is showing the chip and the inductor area is getting very hot, and there's just so many components that are shorted, it's hard to pinpoint them down. When I measure the inductor, it's measuring 9 ohms. Now I know the inductor is not going to cause a short, but I'm wondering, is it leading to some kind of drain? Because the problem with shorts is that, depending on the chip they're next to, they're not always a short. Sometimes you can have something which is like 1.5 ohms across a capacitor that isn't necessarily a short, but often that will be on laptops and stuff when it's next to a main chip, not on a little board like this. But anyway, the inductor's measuring 9 ohms, and I don't think that seems right. It seems more like a resistor than an inductor. But I take it off the board and I use my little component tester. I never knew my component tester would test inductors. I normally just check for continuity on my meter, but the problem is that won't tell you if the coils are all shorted together. But in this instance it's 9 ohms, so I know the coils aren't shorted together. I'm just wondering if there's something weird going on where the coil's just barely hanging on and it's acting more like a resistor. But I do put it on my little component tester and it's testing okay, so it's not that. Now underneath that there is a massive electrolytic cap, not that big, but it's 25 volt one, but it's big enough. And there's a direct short straight across that between the positive and the negative. It's like a 1 ohm short. So I unsolder that just to see in case that's failed internally. And if it hasn't, then I think I'm going to solder leads on in its place, and I'm going to directly put voltage in from my bench power supply and then see what happens. Because the problem is, when you're using the actual mains to power this board, well then that chip which is providing voltage from the capacitors into the inductor and the rest of the board, if there's something pulling it down to ground, just like the LED light that I did, then that will be working overtime and that will heat up, and that is where the heat's coming from as far as the FLIR is concerned. But as far as I can see, it seems to be okay. So I'm going to take out the capacitor and then we'll test the capacitor to see if it's that's providing the direct short. We're out. Now, let's see, is that short on the board or on the cap? It's on the board. How interesting. Where are you coming from? Let's zoom right in. Let's just go to continuity for a moment and I'll read out the readings. So we have a short on the board, so this has to surely be our problem. Now, we've got power coming down here, through here, feeding this. And the problem is that we have this shorted to ground. So that's not shorted. Where can we possibly be shorted? So is this... That's 22 ohms. So don't think it's going to be that. Well, it can't be because this is 1 ohm. What have we got here? That's not going to ground, is it? It's ground. Oh, sorry, it's the positive I'm on about. What am I playing at? So where is this going? It goes back up here. So could it be something here which is causing the problem? So the positive rail, you can see the plus there, is definitely shorted to ground. But there's not that many components left on it. But annoyingly there is, because if you have a look a little bit down from where I just unsoldered the capacitor, there's a via. That via then goes off to the piezo buzzer area, and I know that there's a load of components underneath the piezo buzzer. So then I take off that. I also take off the diode, and I can't see any problem anywhere. Now I'm going to inject voltage because I don't want to take any more components off the board. It feels like I've already taken loads off. I'm going to attach a lead to the positive and the lead to the negative, and we're going to put in 1 volt at high amps. Let's see what's getting warm with the flare cam, because we know that the chip and the inductor were getting warm when it was being powered by the AC voltage, but let's see what happens when I power it via my bench power supply. Right, 1 volt, 1 amp. Here we go. So first of all, let's just make sure it is going to draw something. So this is the negative, and this is the positive. Straight away, so it's 0.3 of a volt, and it's 1 amp. So now let's see if the flare cam can do its job. Right, are you ready? Here we go. On. Diode getting warm? Not overly. Is that the warmest thing on the board so far? Oh, what's going on? Right, I am going to up the current more, not the voltage, the current. So I am now 1.6 amps, and it's at 0.6 of a volt. Right, definitely something getting warm here. Is it that diode? I think so, but it could be the caps here. You can see it's kind of all around that area. That there seems to be the kind of epicenter of it, but there's nothing there. That's just on the board there. Is there anything the opposite side to that? No. Let's get some IPA on and see if... I'm just going to kill power a second. Let's see if IPA will show it up. Isopropyl. It's a real tricky one, this one. Interesting though for me. I just don't think it's going to work its way into a good video because I'm taking too long. Right, let's zoom right in and look up by this diode. I did measure that diode earlier and there was nothing wrong with it, I think. Right, let's see now. I'm going on. And let's see if anything is getting warm here. Don't think so. I don't think there's anything getting warm at all. Right, let's up the current even more. So I'm now at 2 amps. Let's go more. 1 volt, and we're at constant voltage now. We've got 2.1 amps. I mean, you can see it's getting warm, but it's not, you know what I mean? It seems to be more, oh, hold on. Ah, here you go. Yeah, but is that just because it's close to here? How can that cap isn't in contact with, oh, it goes around to here, I didn't notice, look. The cap goes round to here, to the positive. I thought it was just going up here. Right, kill power. I thought, let's get the multimeter, that sneaky cap. And that was the one at the very beginning that was shorted. Wasn't it? Do you remember I went across it? Look, I didn't realise. It goes to here, I think. And around to here. Did anybody else spot that? You know, I took this off, but I didn't realise that was going around there. It's so hard to see because they put the white border around here. So I think that cap has, I think that's our culprit. You've seen it sizzling there. Yeah, it must be going across here. What a shame. If that white border wasn't there, I would have seen that. Right, just one more time. Let's just see that that light up with the IPA. So that was more accurate with IPA than it was. There you go. Look at that. That was more accurate with IPA than it was with the flare cam. Nice. That cap there, I'm pretty sure, has shorted. Amazing. Let's pop it out and see if our 1 ohm short goes away. I spotted that cap at the very beginning as well. Right, here we go. Let's see now. Are you shorted between here and here? You're not. Sneaky so-and-so, look at that. You know, if I had seen that pad, this could have been fixed a long, long time ago. I thought this was completely separate, and that's what was confusing me, because I knew that this was on the negative. And it did confuse me why we had a short across the negative. But you don't always have a cap between positive and negative. Sometimes you have it in line, but that's more for like audio and stuff. I should have known that. There was quite a few of you that knew that, didn't you? Sneaky so-and-so. So it's that cap. Let's zoom in on the cap. Not zoom in, sorry, let's measure it. Where are you? Look how small it is. Let's see if you're shorted. You are. Oh, amazing. Amazing. A shorted cap. Now, you know, I made the same mistake again. I let this... what did I do recently? It was the LED lamp, and I had the same problem chasing the fault, so I haven't learned. On the LED lamp, I let the power supply do the work, and then I was using my flare cam. Just like now, I let the power supply do the work, the mains do the work. So this was doing all the work, and of course this was heating up and this was heating up because it's working overtime, because it's shorting to ground, the output's shorting to ground. It was only when I put voltage in that we then discovered that this was faulty here. Well, I mean, it didn't really shine up much on the flare cam. It was coming up here, but at least it gave me a different, it wasn't heating up here, you know what I mean? It was heating up here. So if I had done voltage injection from the beginning, it would have been a lot better than letting the power supply work, because that's naturally going to get hot when the output's shorted, but it doesn't mean it's faulty. It's something else downstream that's causing the fault. Right, okay, so I need to put everything back on, and I need to think about maybe what cap I'm going to put on here, because I've got zero idea what that's going to be. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to bed. It's 3:45 in the morning, and in my mind, when I get to 4 o'clock, I get angry if I'm still up. So I'm going to go to bed, and I'm going to go to bed happy.
A very nice snooze, thank you.
Okay, so the next day I am nicely refreshed. So I am going to put everything back on. Inductors, diode, this funny speaker thing, capacitor. And then I'm going to look up the schematics for this chip to see if it gives me any... sometimes when you look up the data sheet, it will give you what components to connect near it. Just in case, because from here we can see it goes, you know, it might have the inductor, it might have the capacitor, might have the diode, and it might have, in between the positive and negative here, I think it's unlikely, but it might have the capacitor. And if it does, then I can pop one in. Okay, so I've cleaned that all up now, and the board's still quite messy around the place, but it always was a little bit messy. And I've cleaned it on this side here as well, where I've been soldering. So now I'm going to have a look at the schematics of this chip here and see if I can find out what capacitor goes just there. Right, okay, there's loads of them for sale, but when I look at the data sheets, even the pinouts don't seem to make sense to this one, but I'm not spending any longer because I think I can work out what it is from this circuit here, so I'll show you that in a minute. But if you have a look here, it's a power control chip that uses PWM, pulse width modulation controller, and power MOSFET designed for small non-isolated switching power supplies in household appliances. You can see here 800 volts. Output voltage is 3.3 to 12 volt using feedback resistors. So I presume now if we were to go across it, maybe there's 12 volts coming down here, feeding into this chip here, and then 3.3 volts coming out to do this here, and the 12 volts probably goes up to here to do other things up here. So yeah, there we go. Anyway, I don't think I need to worry about that, because look at this. We know that this chip and this chip are the same, and the capacitor that we want is here, and you can see that it's connected to a diode. Yeah, we'll forget about this diode. You can see we want a capacitor here. It goes up to a diode here and into this leg of the chip. This chip is the same as this chip here, and if you look at this leg here, yeah, this leg also goes to a diode. Yeah, so can you see this leg goes to a capacitor and a diode? This leg goes to a capacitor and a diode. So I'm thinking, why don't I get the reading off this one here and put that one here, the same? Because is it not doing something similar? I can't even see where this side goes. Well, this side is probably going, that side's just going to ground, is it not? So we know that this one here is ground. So is this one ground? I think it is. Yeah, which is going to be the same as here. Yeah, and then this leg is going to go to here, and this leg is going to go to here. So I'm thinking that that cap is going to do the same job. And if you have a look, it's the same setup here as well. This chip as well is the same, is it not? Yes, and that is also the same setup, diode and the capacitor. So why don't we read this one and this one and see if they read the same. If they do, I think that's our missing capacitor. So I read it in circuit, but it's not giving me a good reading. It's telling me that the capacitance is massive, something more than you're going to get out of a tiny little SMD component like this. So what I'm going to do is just take one of them out of circuit, and then I'm going to get a true reading of what that capacitor is. I'm just going to try to slide that over. Right, I'm going to let it cool down. This board's amazing. It's like a dream board to work on. It doesn't take much heat at all. But yeah, it doesn't seem to want a popcorn. It's not super thin. It's just weird. It's just the heat just seems to be so localized on the component you're working on. Right, let's see what it's measuring out of circuit. Now that's going to be more like it. Hold on. That's more like it. So maybe I read it wrong before, but that's microfarad and it was 0.4 before, which would have been 470. Isn't that confusing? So that's fine. So I'm going to be looking at a 4.7 microfarad one. Let me just go back onto this one again. Am I reading that wrong? Milli to micro is more than just one decimal place, isn't it? Okay, well, just as well I took that out there. So hopefully I'll be able to find one of them. So I'm looking at a 4.6 microfarad or 4.7, it will probably is. Right, this isn't looking very hopeful. So I've got all these 4.7 ones, 4.71, 4.72, 4.73, 4.70. 4.74 is the closest, but that's 0.47 microfarad. I need 4.7 microfarad. Everything in this one here is either nano or pico. So I'm hoping there might be something in here. I think I'm going to have to go up the capacitor size. Haha, you beauty! 4.7 UF. It's the next size up from the capacitor that came off. But hopefully I'll be able to get it on the board. I might have to do a little bit of scraping. Oh, brilliant. I'm so happy with that. Hate having to wait for spares. Let's see if it's reading that. Come on. There we go, 4. That'll do me. Let me just go to the next one. Even less. They're getting less and less. Okay, we'll just go with this first one. There we go. Actually, I don't remember if I measured the pads to see what they were reading. Because maybe all that capacitance is coming from the pads. Yeah, so it's coming from the pads. You've got to be so careful measuring the circuit. There you go, so you can see the importance of measuring out of circuit. Right, I'm going to slide that one along and I've got to try to make this one fit. I'm going to try to do it with a soldering iron, but I'll probably have to do it with heat. Just trying to heat them both up at the same time. I think it's on, but I'm going to give it a quick blast with the heat. There we go. Now I've got to try to get this on here. I think you're going to fit. Look at that, you are. So it's quite a bit bigger than these ones. Actually, it's just fatter. I think that will fit there. So I'm going to do this with heat again. I'm going to lower down my airflow a bit. Right, so 450 degrees, 150 out of a possible 200 airflow. There we go, that's gone nicely. Sorry, that was off camera. Right now, what we're going to do is just plug in, I'm not going to plug the fan or anything like that in. Let's just plug in the mains into it and this. And now let's see if this comes alive. Maybe if we turn this on here, we might even hear a relay. We might hear a relay go or something. Right, so it's going to be all eyes on this here. Hopefully it won't go bang. I've got it vertical, so that little tilt switch should be okay. And I'm connected into the correct ones. Here we go. For the first time, are you going to come alive? I heard a beep. That's brilliant, I heard a beep. Wow, yes, fantastic. Amazing. Okay, well, it's doing something. Maybe we won't hear the relay go off. Brilliant. Ah, yes, it's lovely to hear that beep. So now, it might not be working. I found a fault, but I haven't tested the fan, I haven't tested the heater. I am going to put this back together because I feel unsafe testing those things just on the bench, especially when I don't know the product. So I'm going to put it all back together. Hopefully it should work. What's the likelihood of having two faults on it? I think quite unlikely. We definitely found a shorted capacitor. So I put it all back together. I'm also going to try to make it a little bit safer. I'm going to drill a hole in the back and I'm going to put a little screw in because remember you could just take the top off by twisting it. I know it takes quite a bit of force to take the top off, but it is still possible that the top could come off if it was to get knocked hard enough, and then if it's plugged in, there's live wires exposed on the inside, live terminals and stuff. You can grab the bottom of the circuit board. So I'm putting a little screw in, and that way then it can't accidentally come loose. Somebody would have to undo the screw and then twist it to make it come loose. And just to cover up the screw, I'm putting a little sticker that I find above it. I can't remember if it was a made in China or some manufacturing or warranty sticker or something. I just place it over the screw just to hide it a little bit. I know I've spoilt the look of it, but I honestly think it's safer now than it was before. There's no wires or anything on the inside anywhere near the screw. It's not possible for any wire to come and hit this screw. It's far away from everything. Also, I've got to sort out the remote control. There's a bit of corrosion in the remote control, but by the time I take the batteries out and give it a clean with first of all isopropyl alcohol, but then I get white vinegar on it because the batteries are alkaline, so we have alkaline on the terminals. By putting white vinegar on, which is an acid, you neutralise the alkaline because alkaline neutralises an acid and acid neutralises alkaline. And then I clean it all with IPA. The remote control is working when I use my phone to press buttons. I can see through my phone camera that it's lighting up. So next time you're going to see this now, it will be in the other room and it's all put back together. Let's test it. There was so much footage to this video, I've had to cut so much of it. I think in reality, I was probably on this for 4 or 5 hours if you take into account everything that I did. Getting into it alone took about 40 minutes or something. Right, it appears to be all working. I think the remote control's from an Amazon Fire Stick because we've got the mic at the back here and the feel of it looks like it could be that. Also, it doesn't really fully make sense. For example, you have the sun here for heat and then you have this one here for the cold fan, but yet to put the temperature up on heat, you still have to hit the cold fan positive. And this is the thing that changes between the sun and the hot and the cold. But yeah, it's working. That there that I thought was a muscle man, I think is just a blast of cold air, like that. When you hit that, I think it just goes on to the max cold setting. Or it's not cold, just a max cold fan setting, but it doesn't actually shove out any cold air. It's just shoving out air that's in your house. So if I turn it on here, you can see now we're on that there. If I go to oscillate, it will start oscillating. And if I do this one, it will go max cold. There you go. And I've got my trusted tissue here. And hopefully you'll see that that's blowing around the place. So it definitely produces quite a bit of air. To be fair, it sounds and feels similar to a Dyson, even though the build quality is not there. And then if we want heat, I'll wait until it comes back and I'll stop the oscillation. There, if we want heat now, we're going to hit this button in the middle. And oh, I pressed it twice. There we go. I heard a little relay click, and that's it. It's 23 in this room, but it's currently set to 26. If I want to go up, I'm going to go up on the cold setting here. And you can see it's now gone to 27, but it will go back to 23. And right now, I can feel heat coming out of it. Let's see if this one puts up the airflow. Yeah. So that's maximum, that's heat, and that one's maximum airflow. So there we go. It's a nice little fan. I'm just not 100% sure about the quality of it, especially the fact that you could just twist off the top. Seems dangerous to me. But what's amazing is, look at the size of it. You can tell this has had no use. This all failed. Look at that there. Can you see that little black dot just on here? That black dot there, that is the capacitor. That's how small it is. So this whole thing would have been put into landfill for something that you can barely see on my hand just here. That's it there. So I love that. That tiny thing caused that to fail. And just like the LED floor lamp that I did, how much of those do you reckon would fit in that? I'm going to say 5 million. I reckon you'd get 5 million of these in that there. You put down what you think in the comments section down below. That is absolutely minuscule. Isn't it great? That stopped that from working. I love things like that. So there we go. Oh look, the thing goes off after a while. I wonder if I hit a button, does it come back alive? Yes, it does. There we have it. That might well be a keeper for me, because I don't think I'd be overly happy selling it on. I don't know about the quality side of it, but definitely for me, I'll be happy using that. And it gives off nice heat, and it's not overly noisy. I enjoyed that fix.
Summary.
Now, how did we do today? Well, the power lamp, unfortunately, a big fat 0 for that one. Couldn't get it working. Now, this one here, normally I would put that down as friends and family because I've done work to the board. But I'm confident that the capacitor I put in is correct. Although I wouldn't feel comfortable selling it on to a stranger, friends and family I would, but I'd be happy to charge more. Obviously, I'm doing this to try to bump up the profit a bit, but I'm thinking £65 is fair enough. I've had a look on eBay. People are selling used ones for £90 and they're out of stock. There's another one for 80 something. They're currently on Amazon for 130 for the 1500 watt one. This is 1800 watt. So I do believe it's worth £65, even though I've had a lot of heat on the board, because before I got my hands on it, it was new. I think it failed on first, as soon as it was turned on, I think it failed. So I'm going to call it £65, and I'm not going to feel guilty. I think that fan probably is worth £65. Put it this way, a quarter of 130 is going to be roughly £33, and I wouldn't sell that fan for £33. I'd rather use it myself or give it to my daughter or something for £33. So I feel justified calling it £65. So biggest day yet as far as profit is concerned, and day 24 I've got loads of items. So we should be able to bump up the profit very nicely. Hopefully I'll see you again tomorrow for day 24. Thank you so much for watching.